Hello everyone and welcome back to Bacon. Also welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon Rod's Route. We're still in chapter 7. I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak with Parfait and Delora about my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go by, but still I find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decide to write a letter containing my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. I tell Parfait and Delora that I believe he might be the witch they are looking for. I also add that I believe Fritz might somehow be involved, though my suspicions are not as well founded with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I have not heard anyone mention his name here for a very long time. Fritz! I am forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collide with someone. The linens I have been holding scatter over the floor. Excuse me, I did not... I look up and my voice trails off when I see who I bumped into. Lost in your thoughts? Sir Mithras looks at me, something veiled in his smiling eyes. Ah, there it is. I suppose those are the linens the queen asked for. Yes, please excuse me. I begin gathering up the linens, but as soon as I reach for one, Sir Mithras picks it up first. Allow me to help you. I will be fine. But this was partially my fault. Let me assist you. While also looking smug the entire time. I bite my lip and do not protest as Sir Mithras helps me gather the rest of the linens. I am contemplating my schedule for the rest of the day when I realize that Sir Mithras has been talking. I don't suppose you have any idea on who that maid is? Maid? There's a cold amusement in Sir Mithras' eyes. Surely you've heard the rumor of the young prince having been seen with a royal maid somewhere around town. Rumor has it the Prince Rod has found love among the common folk, much like his royal stepfather has. Rod with a maid? As far as I'm aware, the only maid he has been out in town with has been... I freeze as Sir Mithras straightens, patting down his clothes for dust before holding out some of the linens to me. If it is true, I wish him the best, though I wish he would be more discreet about it. A royal scandal is the last thing we need right now. I shakily take the linens from Sir Mithras as he inclines his head to me. And given that he's the witch, he knows who Lucette is, and that just makes me want to punch him all the harder. Have a good day, Lucette. I walk to the dining hall in a haze, my mind whirling with the implications of what Sir Mithras just said. I am sure it was one of those noble women who spread this rumor. Ah, Lucette, thank you for bringing these to me. Just leave them on the table. I curtsy after placing the linens down as commanded. If that is all? Lucette? I straighten at the tone of Ophelia's voice. When I look up, I see that her expression is carefully still. I am about to ask you something that you might not want to answer, but I very much hope you will. I will answer if I can. Good. Why did I make her sound evil just now? Ophelia sighs as she sits down on one of the dining table chairs and folds her hands on her lap. I've been trying to ignore it since palace gossip is mostly false, but I can't help my curiosity. I wanted to ask about your relationship with my son! No! What? I understand you and Rob were out together in town a few days ago. Oh no. Do you want to tell me what happened? Alright, so in this situation... I'm gonna go with the first option. Explain the situation. If Ophelia is asking me about these rumors, then I can only imagine what sort of story those women made up. Prince Rod was just on his way somewhere when he chanced upon me. When he saw that I was in trouble with two noblewomen, he stopped to intervene. That is all. Rod said the same thing. That was a test! Then why did you ask me, Your Majesty? Because it was a test! She wanted to see if you were going to tell the truth. To see what you thought about the situation. I don't think anyone should get a say in what your relationship with Rod is. Ophelia's a shipper! She's a shipper. His mom's a shipper! My relationship with Rod? Ooh, there we go. I like you, Lucette, and I'm certain that you're good for Ron Weasley! If I had my way, I would let him court you. I feel heat in my cheeks as I trip over my words. The prince and I are not in a relationship. A member of the royal family cannot end up with a servant. Where there's love, there's hope. Social status shouldn't stop you from being happy, Lucette. Then what about the fact that I am Rod's stepsister? I was literally about to say something. Like, I was thinking it, and I was like, well, there's no point in complaining about that part because it's not like Ophelia knows, but Lucette said it for me. I bite down on that statement fiercely. I already know what role I am playing here, and I cannot break it. Considering that, of course, this is a completely different dimension, but considering that royalty did actual straight-up blood-related incest all the time, I don't think dating your stepbrother would be considered that bad, to be honest, considering what royalty used to do. Ophelia looks at me with a complicated expression before she sighs. I will not push you on this any further. But be careful, Lucette. Your closeness with my son and daughter has not gone unnoticed. I do not believe in limiting relationships because of one's status, but I understand. I curtsy as I move toward the dining hall's entrance. What did Ophelia mean by that closeness not going unnoticed? Well, the rumors, probably. Though I think in her little brain meats, she doesn't quite realize that they are into each other that way. And it's just sort of like, it's not like we like each other. Later that day, as I am waiting outside the throne room for Emmeline to finish one of her classes, two maids walk toward me and stop in front of me. I don't think she realizes just how obvious things are. Lucette, isn't it? Oh gosh, it's the bad music. So this is not Maid A and Maid B, it's going to be Jerk A and Jerk B. What is it? I've already finished on my task for the day. Oh, I'm sure you have. Probably rushed through all of them so that you could hang out with the prince and princess tonight. What'd I say? What'd I say? The head housekeeper's been giving you a lighter load so you can afford the time to play around. I imagine that considering that she's supposed to be at attendance to Emmeline 24/7, the reason she gets a lighter load is because she can't be constantly away from Emmeline in case Emmeline needs or wants something. That is the entirety of her freaking job. Like, I don't see why she's doing any chores around the castle, to be honest, along with what she's supposed to be doing for Emmeline. I blink at them, confused. I have no idea what you were talking about. Don't play dumb. All the servants know what you've been doing. Just because you're Princess Emmeline's personal maid doesn't make you better than the rest of us. I'd be careful not to get too big for your boots, Lucette. And I just had a thought. Okay, so all the servants that were around during the Queen's reign, if these two were from that time, why? Why are they still here? As in, I wouldn't... Okay, so hiring a completely new staff can be really, really risky because you don't know 100% if you can trust them. But I imagine that keeping the original staff that worked under the Queen is riskier, especially since Lucette looks like her mother, and if she was so terrible that she terrified the entire village into not wanting to come outside even, imagine what she did to the servants. I mean, we've already seen a couple of glimpses into what she kind of did, but imagine what the servants went through. If I were the king who genuinely cared about his people, I would have given them all early retirement. Like, I don't care how young you are, 5 years old, retired, you're done. And I certainly hope they didn't have like 5-year-olds working in the palace. But my point is that teenager, adult, whatever, they should have been given an early retirement so that they're taken care of for the rest of their lives. Because as far as I'm concerned, they earned it. So there shouldn't be any of the original staff there anymore, except for like, say, even under having Mithros and Sir Alcaster still there. Fine, he trusts them. He believes that they're not going to bring him any harm, which is not true. But he believes it. I understand keeping them, but keeping the regular servants, that just seems like he's risking his daughter's life. Because who's to stop any of them from trying to poison her or something to keep her from taking over after her mom or whatever? And they're also just proving that people aren't as good as the king thinks or says, once again. Because they're like, oh, this woman is getting close to the royal family. She's the direct maid of one of the royal family, therefore it's normal to get close to them. Well, we're just gonna hate her then. What a jerk. She's clearly thinking she's better than the rest of us, even though she's probably never spoken to either of you. Like, Maid A looks kind of like that maid that like forced her to kneel and crap, or forced her to bow rather. But other than that, I would just, if it were me, if I were the king, I would have retired everybody who is the original staff, again, other than maybe some higher rank officers, and then I would have hired from like outside the kingdom. Yeah, it's a risky move, but I feel like it would have been a lot riskier to keep the original staff and not to, say, reward them by giving them the rest of their lives so that they can just live comfortably and not have to worry again, because I think they freaking earned it based on just what we know about the Queen. Okay? That's my thoughts on that. Moving on. Are you threatening me? What if we are? Then I'd be very disappointed in you. I love how Emmeline and Rod are just so good at that. They just show up right when I want them to. I was just thinking like, oh, if one of them walks in on you too, it's gonna be hilarious. Princess Emmeline. That's right. It's Brittany, bitch. Emmeline moves to stand beside me, a disapproving expression on her face. By the way, free Brittany. Anyway. I did not expect such cruelty from the two of you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Your Highness. You really do have a talent for getting yourself into trouble. It is not my fault! Rod. Rod pauses briefly, his eyes meeting mine for a second before he looks at the maids. Don't you have better things to do than bully my sister's maid? We apologize, Your Highness. We'll be on our way. The two maids run off. Emmeline turns to look at me. Are you okay? I'm about to answer when I notice that Rod is abruptly walking away from us. I frown at his back. He had just started being nice to me, and now he is back to acting as if I do not exist. What did I do? Emmeline puts her hands on my back and gently pushes me forward. You wanted to ask him something, right? I can see it in your eyes. Is Emmeline also a shipper? Emmeline smiles as she pushes the door to the throne room open. I have a few more questions to ask my teacher. I'll be a while. I'll bet you will. But she disappears into the throne room before I can finish. I glance down the hallway. Rod just disappeared down and then back at the throne room. My thoughts whirl together in a vague mass until I make my decision. Wait. At the sound of my approaching footsteps, Rod turns and looks at me. He scowls but does not say anything. Alright, I'm gonna stay right here. Well, I don't want to just go off on him, but at the same time, saying nothing's going to be completely counterproductive, so we're doing this! Tell him off for his behavior. The words spill out of me before I can even think on them. What have I done now to make you angry with me? Nothing. He turns away and I glare as I follow closely behind him. You expect me to believe that? You can at least look at me when I am talking to you. I reach out a hand to his elbow and pull him back so that he is facing me. Rod. But the words die in my throat when I see the expression on his face. Oh, he blushy. His face is red and he refuses to look me in the eye. And I was correct. Oh yeah! There's, the commenter, you know who you are, who actually told me I'm supposed to challenge him. Challenge him, darn it! So I had forgotten your advice for half a second. So yes, correcto. Haha! My surprise causes me to release him. Rod quickly turns around and begins to walk away. I am left to stare dumbly after him. What is wrong with him? Normally he's not so afraid to speak his mind. I frown as I feel a dull ache throbbing somewhere deep in my chest. What is this? Why do I feel sad? Normally Rod's distance does not make me feel like this. And yet now, am I really so sad that he does not want to speak with me? I shake my head and take a deep breath to still my mind. It is better not to think about it. Aww. Alright, the ball. I'm gonna end things there, and oh goodness, I'm getting close to having to finish off these slots, so either I'm gonna finish Rod's about right here, or... well, either way, I'm gonna have to go back to page 1 and delete all of my stuff involving Axel and the... well, most of the first page seems to be like the intro, so it's fine. Okay, anyway. Thank you guys for joining me. I am Bacon, and this so far has been Cinderella Phenomenon. If you like the video, feel free to like the video. If you like me, feel free to like, subscribe, share, all that lovely stuff. Oh, and of course, comment, please. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!